He'll never recover from that one. Like the millions of Americans who will never recover from the Great Recession because of his austerity politics. Got him. Oh man, I bet that one burns. Does that burn as much as getting evicted from your home because the elected leaders that you put into office that promised to help you literally lied to your face and spat on your grave? Oh man. Yo, did you guys see Jon Stewart absolutely like thrashing the conservatives who he's been talking to recently? We didn't watch too many of these and they get copywritten, but we definitely got to talk about them because like they're insane. They're insane. He's going crazy. He like rips these people apart. He the goat. He's like literally ripping them apart. It's crazy. It's like the first time they've ever been hit with hard questions in their entire lives and they crumble.
Do you feel like these are unfair questions of somebody within a department of that size and scope? Do you feel that it's somewhat unfair?
I think you have a particular thing you really want to talk about and you're asking me other questions, but I don't think it's unfair to ask me about the audit. It's absolutely the case that the United States military should be able to pass an audit, and we've got to be on that pathway to get there.
But don't you think that does speak to the larger point that we're trying to get at, which is good journalism uncovers corruption? And
okay, I mean, good journalism does uncover corruption, but I'm not sure these two things are linked. An audit is not.
But they are.
Okay, so you need to explain to me, do you understand what an audit does and the degree to which it is linked to the question that you're asking?
I believe so.
Okay, go ahead. Give me your explanation.
No, I don't mind learning. So what I would suggest is that the audit that they have in the military doesn't really look at whether or not there's efficacy. It's just whether they got delivered the thing that they ordered. And
that is any audit. That is any audit. That is true.
But generally, those audits aren't $400 billion for Raytheon and $1.7 trillion for a plane that doesn't seem to be doing. Like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these pieces.
Please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit is exactly what you just described, which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DoD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So.
Huh? How in the world could like a federal department not passing an audit not be in like it's the lightest thing that you could possibly say, suggestive of there being like malfeasance or something going wrong? Because I remember correctly, wasn't the Pentagon missing like $1 billion or like a couple $1 billion? Or was it 400 billion? It wasn't 400 billion that they were missing. They were just like. We were like, hey, bud, what'd you do with all that money that we gave you? And they were like, they couldn't find it. Wait. Oh, my bad. Recently in December, they failed their 5th audit. I'm sorry. I thought it was just one. No, they failed their 5th audit. Bro, you'd be in debtor's court if you were if this was a real person. This is crazy. You'd be in jail. Since the 1990 congressional mandate, the Department of Defense has undertaken and failed 5 audits. In fact, they didn't even try in 2017. The latest audit process concluded that at the end of 2022, it produced another failed result. The same last year, and not unexpected. We're just like okay with them doing this now. It's just a part of the memes now. According to Michael J. McCord, the department's comptroller, only 7 of the 27 entities that make up the Department of Defense received a clean bill of financial health, representing 39% of the department's $7 trillion in assets. 61%? 61% of $7 trillion is just like, Jesus, take the wheel. Nice. That sounds like what's that? Man, I hear a little word. I can just barely hear it. It's so faint. It's, if you listen closely, you may be able to hear it. What is that? Shh, shh. Corruption. That's crazy. That's crazy. Who could have seen this coming? The Pentagon audit process itself costs $428 million to conduct, and another $472 million to fix the problems uncovered. All right. So even to like do the audit, it's $500 million. And then, so it's $1 billion to do the audit and then fix what they broke. Good meme.
So what is
now it's a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where.
Isn't that like what a military's
That is
like
not
whole
the
job
same
is?
as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
Yeah.
It seems like if you can't find something that you're supposed to find in something as important as the military, that is definitely waste or fraud or abuse. That's how things go missing. It's waste, fraud, or it's literally one of those three things. Like you can't tell me it's not any of those any of those three things, because it's supposed to be there and it's not, and somebody didn't put it there. And the person who was supposed to check if it's there didn't look. So that's definitely either waste, fraud, or abuse.
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went,
laughing?
Then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure I
that
didn't cause it.
an $850 billion.
Honestly, the fact that she's so confident that she didn't cause it makes me think that she probably caused it, or at least was a part of the problem. All right? These types of people in power, they never want to accept when they actually did something wrong. Nobody wants to have their own head on the chopping block. She's like, oh, I definitely didn't cause this one. No, okay.
$1 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see...
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good... we should be talking... I mean,
well,
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
I think...
Yeah, that's my money. I pay taxes. That's literally my money. I'm a taxpayer. Yeah, I do care about where it goes. It's literally my money. Oh, wasting. Wow. Wasting more money than like half of the countries that we deal business in combined. Like, and double that on something that we could very easily fix, and then just like, instead of using that money as waste, we could just, you know, give it to poor people so their children won't starve. So it's literally hilarious. It's the funniest thing ever, dude. I'm tee. Oh man. Holy, can you imagine? It's my money, lady.
I think it doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
tell
when
me that story. Tell me how you're thinking about that.
She's
I see
she's so
a
condescending.
State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
If that blows your mind.
Who is this guy?
And if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking, and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world. So I get back to this idea of like, I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you.
Yeah, I'm not looking to pick a fight, but she makes a fight because she's so condescending about wondering where the money went. And then talking about how we keep needing to give needing to give the DOD more money when it seems like they can't even handle the money that they have already. And we're giving them more money even after we get out of wars, and then we give them more money for what? What are they doing with it? Losing it? It's quite curious how all of these like big like industrial complex people are making like money hand over fist every single day. But like the grunts of our society, the people who actually make this place run, without them, there would be no country to protect. They're the ones having like food literally being taken out of their mouths. Like literally being taken. Do I have this up? Here, give me 1 second. It'd be in my big list, wouldn't it? Can I find this really quick? Oh, I found it. The Party for the Working Class. Republicans who voted against free school lunch turn around and get more food for their own lunches. So this is probably one of the most insane, like, demonic articles that I've read in my in recent memory. If I'm going to be honest with you, like it's really up there. So basically, what came across the desks of like the South Dakota legislatures was, should they make school lunch free for low-income families, or just school lunch free period? And they said I quote, "That's not my problem." They literally looked at starving kids and said that wasn't my problem. They literally said verbatim, "Children starving is not our problem." And then the next week, they voted to increase their own lunch money. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, and the craziest thing is, all these people will be voted back in office. Because I'm going to tell you this now. I'm going to promise you, like, I don't even think that your average South Dakotan even knows this happened. It's literally they're trying to put the Onion out of business. They're literally trying to put the Onion out of business. 23-24, with the only Republican voting against it. On Monday, the North Dakota. I get them mixed up. North Dakota Senate failed to pass HB 1491, 23-24, with only Republicans voting against it. HB 1491 would have embarked on a $6 million crusade to help provide school lunches for children of low-income families. It would not have been covered for all children, but the low-income ones. At the time, Republicans like Senator Mike Wabama argued that North Dakotans shouldn't have to pay for parents being negligent. What the fuck is child services for then? Yeah, $6 million is literally like no money. On Thursday, April 6th, literally 5 business days later, the very same Republican-dominated North Dakota Senate had voted and passed SB 2124 and 26 and 21, the bill that raised the amount of money North Dakota senators and their staff can be reimbursed for state meals, and the lunch money that North Dakotans pay for is for adults. This shit is insane. It's crazy. This is the type of stuff that, like, back in like ye olden France, got people beheaded for. Now, I would like to be clear. I'm not calling for beheading any politicians in the North Dakota legislature. I'm making a comparison that, like, as people, we should really put up with far less than we do. This shit is just insane. There was like a video. There's like the most incriminating video I've seen in my entire life of this guy. I think it was literally this guy standing up and talking and saying that starving children literally isn't my problem. Let me see if I can find it for you all. Because like it's one thing to read the words. Yeah, I found it. It's another thing to hear them. So listen to this dude. I promise you this will like make your blood boil.
We talk about personal responsibility as one of the major principles that the Republican Party stands on. Yes, I can understand kids going hungry, but is that really the problem of the school district? Is that the problem of the state of North Dakota? It's really the problem of parents being negligent with their kids.
It's just like never in a billion years will this party ever be able to call itself the party of family values. Never, ever. This is genuinely sick. This is sick and twisted. In a civil society, saying something like this should get you like institutionalized. Like he should be in a padded room right now, being given pills, and as people talk to him to ask him about his like huge issues that he has with other people, looking down starving children and going, you don't deserve more food. That's not my problem. If your job is you're a public servant, serve. Our politicians should be serving cunt, not cringe. And because they can't do that, honestly, I don't think they deserve the job. This is remarkable. I don't know. I saw this. I didn't know where to like talk about it or anything. But this happened like twice. Okay? And Republicans across the country hate the idea of letting poor children eat. It's something remarkable that like no matter what type of Republican you are, evangelical, literal fascist, rapist, pedophile, YouTuber, whatever, Cuban, whatever. What brings them all together is the idea that like poor children don't deserve more food. Because they did the same thing in was it Minnesota? Not Wisconsin. It was not Wisconsin. Was it Minnesota? Was it? Anybody remember? Waltz. That's the governor of Minnesota, right? Because like Minnesota's doing like Green New Deal type shit right now. Like they gave that man they gave Waltz like a one, yeah, they gave Waltz like a one a seat majority, and they're literally changing the state for the better. But Republicans have a supermajority and they literally want children to starve. I think this says a lot about society. I don't even remember how far did like Minnesota's free, it was universal free lunch. I still think it's remarkable the fact that like we don't like just give lunch for free at school. Like it's a school. Give them food. Like people compare like prison to school a lot. Like at least in prison you get free food. This is the comparison. This is like Democratic governor helping children eat food. Republican governor, the Republican legislature saying that that's not my problem.
It's really the problem of the school district. Is that the kids going hungry? But is that really the problem of the school district? Is that
Yes.
the problem of the state of North Dakota?
Yes.
It's really...
Yes. To answer all those questions, the answer is yes. It is your problem. If those kids die, if those kids die or are like put on the street or something, like the state suffers. You know that, right? Like when human beings succeed, the state succeeds. But at the end of the day, like I can't like appeal to them, like I can't appeal to their humanity like that because they just don't care about humanity really. These politicians don't. They simply just don't care. That's why they turned around and gave themselves like extra lunch money after all of this. That's how it works. It's insane. Family values, everyone. Party of family values.
You don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
Okay, on food insecurity, major priority for us. A lot of funds are going toward that. The biggest issues we have found, first of all, we have significantly increased funding on food insecurity. And we do think we are getting much better on that. We believe some of the challenges we face are not what you often think of as, food insecurity as hunger. They're really around, do we have food available? For instance, as people come on and off shifts, is it healthy food? Those are the types of food insecurity issues we are seeing in and around our military installations. We have increased pay 2 times in a row here. We've done 4.6%.
Oh, I wanted to talk. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little derailed by like the actual like cartoon villainy, literally taking candy from a baby. Actually, it's worse, taking an apple from a baby. I'm sorry. The conservative, I got like bogged down in the conservative cartoon villainy. I actually lived on military bases for like a long time. I lived a bit on Fort Bragg. I lived for a long time on Fort Knox. Specifically, what fort is in? We didn't live in a fort on Missouri. I think there is a fort in Missouri. Was the St. Louis fort? Fort Leonard Wood? Yeah, Fort Leonard Wood. We were like around Fort Leonard Wood and everything. Did you get any gold? No, but every single boy that's like old enough to go to Fort Knox can get a free circumcision with a Fort Knox gold plated scalpel. And so that was my prize for going. I remember it like it was yesterday. But yeah, like there was like a bit of food insecurity, but the biggest problems was like the kind of like the degeneration of the infrastructure on Fort Knox. I remember Fort Knox specifically. The degeneration of the infrastructure on Fort Knox, and also Ireland, which is the big like hospital. The defunding and like poor maintenance of Ireland was a massive issue, because ever since that I can remember, really, I had been going to my doctor's appointments in Ireland, and I actually like really liked it. It wasn't even that far from my school, and as like a family that, you know, we have medical problems that run in the family, we were in and out of the hospital a decent amount. Nothing like too super serious usually, but for a lot of my like medical needs, I'd always go to Ireland. And Ireland got so defunded, they stopped providing care for veterans. So I had to switch from Ireland to just like a private healthcare thing, which is insane to me, because I'm a dependent of 2 30-year veterans. My parents can't even go to Ireland anymore. It's crazy how they were like so incredibly defunded. Where is this money going? Because I gotta tell you, veterans and active duty personnel are not seeing it. And they're the ones literally putting their lives on the line, and the dependents are the ones literally getting dragged along for the ride, with you treating us like garbage, bro. Like, at least if you want my parents to like die in like like some weirdo Middle East war or something, at least like try and treat them well. My parents never went to the Middle East, just so you know. My dad went to South Korea, and he helped some of the South Korean troops prepare not to get nuked by North Korea. And they were very gracious for that. They gave him 100, guys, what's the South Korean money? They gave him a 100 won bill. And he was like, hey, Chris, look at this bill. I'm like, what's that? And he's like, 100 won. And I was like, whoa, cool, wow. Right now, that's, just so you know, that's 0.0, that is worth 0.076 cents. So, oh, my bad. It was 1,000 won. I'm sorry. That is 76 cents. Just in case if you were wondering. But I was like, whoa, cool. So much money. He was like, yeah, totally. It's a crazy amount of money. He was like, so true, son. So true.
Percent pay raise. Last year, we've asked for a 5.2% pay raise. This year, we've also increased basic allowances and increased housing and pay and other allowances.
Did you live on base in Ireland? No, stop. Stop trying to confuse people in chat, stinkos. The hospital was called Ireland. I think it was named after a guy. It's Ireland Army Health Center. Ireland Army Health Clinic. The hospital is named Ireland. They've actually demolished Ireland since last time I was. They rebuilt Ireland. So this is what I remember Ireland looking like. When we were living on base, this is what Ireland looked like. But they've remodeled Ireland, so now it looks like this. Yeah, Ireland Army Health Clinic. It is called Ireland. It is not. It is not. I wasn't traveling to get a flu shot while living on base to literal Ireland, the country. I was going to Ireland, the hospital. Just stop trying to confuse people in chat. Yeah, if Ireland is so cool, why don't they make Ireland too? What?
So overall, we definitely think we need to increase the spending that we are putting forward toward our service members and their families. We're putting our money where our mouth is. Another big area is childcare. Spending a lot more money on childcare. That includes both childcare facilities, and it includes
I was in childcare when 9/11 happened.
Benefit that allows folks to go out on the economy to get childcare and have that subsidized.
I was right across
by
the Brooklyn
government.
Bridge.
Those are all examples of ways we're trying to put money forward for our service members and their families.
Yeah, okay. I bet, brother. This is our current defense secretary. This woman is literally Biden's defense secretary. I mean, it makes sense. He is Biden after all, but like this shit is embarrassing. Another Biden L. How curious were you shocked? I hope you weren't. Oh, but there's another one. A former Treasury Secretary. I want to take a look at this one too, because this one could be fun. My bad, Deputy Secretary of Defense. She's been deputized. They put their money. Yeah, listen, okay. You know what she should have said? You know what the Deputy Defense Secretary should have said to Jon Stewart when talking about how her department failed its 5th audit in a row, and has somehow lost multiple hundreds of millions of dollars. She should have said, "Listen, John, I know a lot of people are angry, but you need to understand, we failed the audit because we put our money where our mouth is. We eated it. Come on. It tasted really good. How else have you heard of seen the inflation recently?" Oh man, it's cheaper to eat the money these days. Hey. Veterans are dying of suicide at an unprecedented rate. Hey, I eated it. That would have got the crowd back on our side. That's what I got. We got hungry. That's what got the crowd back on our side. This is why they fail. This is why now I know why they don't go outside to talk to people. They're not good at it. They're not people. They're not people. They're not people.
What basically happened to us as we had massive stimulus and an economy that could only produce so much. We had huge levels of demand, and those huge levels of demand kept pushing up prices and pushing up wages. But ultimately, it was you put too much.
I'm sorry. I love like Jon Stewart's like middle-aged man disappointment look. It's so good. I feel it in my soul. It's like my old like 8th grade English teacher asking me why I failed to turn in my homework for like the 3rd day in a row. It's so good. It gives me chills, bro. I don't like it. It sends shivers down my back. Shiver me. My timbers do be shivering. My boots do be quaking. Okay.
But ultimately, it was you put too much water in the bathtub overflows. You put too much demand into the economy, and you get high and rising prices.
But the San Francisco Fed says that is, demand is maybe 30 to 35% of the inflation. Wages are really around 20% of the inflation. There's a huge corporate profit aspect to it. There's a huge supply chain aspect to it. But our method for controlling it seems really much more focused on wages and employment.
How can we make
There's
people's
certain
money worth
sicknesses
less?
you can have where there's a drug and it has side effects. And everybody hates the side effects, and no doctor wants their patient to suffer the side effects. But if you don't address the sickness, you're gonna have a bigger problem down the road.
But the stock market assets have gone up 150%. CEO pay has gone up 1,500%. Workers' wages haven't gone up at all. I think you're misdiagnosing the sickness.
First, John, inequality is a terrible thing. The most serious problem the American economy has,
says the capitalist,
has been the cleavages between those like you and me who are very fortunate. That's why we need a strategy of strengthening labor power in the economy. The question, though, is it an issue that somebody whose control is over setting interest rates and printing money can do much about? Now, you could say that they shouldn't have responded to the 2009 recession by cutting money, by cutting interest rates. You could say that.
Yes,
but
you could.
Do you really
You should,
think?
actually.
And certainly that wasn't what progressives were saying at that time.
It doesn't matter.
At that time, progressive.
Listen, hey guys, listen, while you guys were when you were still pee-peeing your Pampers, Barack Obama, who was the progressive at the time, mind you, he didn't say this. So it's not our job to always do good things. What relationship is this? Is this like a freaking, like, is it like a 1980s stand-up comedy relationship that we're a part of, where you play the buffoon and we play the straight man or something, where you're always like, oh, what, oh no, economy's running too hot. What if we make everybody's 401ks worth nothing? And then we go, hey, how about you curb corporate profits and tax the ultra wealthy more and then redistribute it back to the people who actually need it. Skim off the top from the people who can afford to lose the money and then give it to the people who can't. And they're like, what are you talking about? I already hit the money go down button. Millions of people will never get out of poverty.
We're saying we need lower interest rates so people can borrow money to buy houses and put people to work.
But they were stimulating it for car loans. The corporate level, where they just put the money in the hands of the bankers and say, you decide. This pandemic was the first time the government, in my opinion, did the thing that they're supposed to do in a crisis. When you look at the stimulus payments that went out, 70% of it was being used for rent and food. And if you look at the recovery in the pandemic versus the recovery from 2008, when you stimulated the economy at the demand level, jobs had plunged in the pandemic, and then they shot back up. The recovery in 2009 was painstaking, but the stock market did great. So our fiscal policy and our monetary policy has always been on the side of corporate easing.
Just so we're clear,
yes.
Bro is not keeping up. My man said, help your average American instead of corporations, and guy needs he needs you to read the paragraph over again, but slower this time. My guy's got to put his my man is dumbfounded. He has no clue what he's looking at.
If you talk to African-American voters, if you talk to Hispanic voters, talk to voters who don't have college degrees, they regard the country's biggest problem as having to do with inflation. So
holy crap, is he pulling out my friend Is he pulling out the minority cards? Really, to deflect from his poor monetary policies that have kept like millions of Americans who haven't even recovered from the Great Recession yet in poverty, by saying, yo, my friend, well, listen, I asked my friend Jamal and I asked my friend Juarez about what's the biggest problem is. And would you look at that? They actually agree with me. So don't worry, Mr. Whitey.
Well, you may see this as having been tremendously
Whitey McCockapants.
successful. Our fellow Americans who don't live as comfortably as you and I do have a lot of questions, John, about what's happened.
Oh, they're the ones who are left behind the most. Stimulus payments don't help rich people. Your average rich person could sneeze and lose $2,000 and they won't even notice. It could drop out of, every time they take a step, it could cartoonishly fall out of their pocket and they wouldn't notice. They wouldn't care. I'm sorry, you give somebody who's living in a trailer park in Alabama $2,000 and they're like, and then you've changed the course of the next 6 months of their lives. You give like Bill Gates $2,000 and he won't even notice. The money number changes so often he can't even tell.
And it's not hard to understand why they have a lot of questions in light of what's happened to their purchasing power.
But you're suggesting their purchasing power.
We took a good idea and overdid it.
I disagree.
By providing for too much inflation.
But what you're not addressing is not all of inflation was stimulus. The tools that we have, though, are basically saying to somebody, everyone's paying more for gas and groceries, and that's really hard. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw 10 million of them out of work so that we all don't have to share that burden. Why aren't we attacking corporate profit in any way? Because that's been estimated to be 30% of inflation, 40% of inflation.
I don't think it's a tenable view that all...
It's not a tenable view to put blame on the corporations running the country. Bro. Oh, man. Average Democrat be like...
All of a sudden, corporations became greedy. Of course there's monopolies in the economy, John, and we should be...
It's not sudden.
They've been bragging about
they've been like this
much more aggressive
entire lives.
On their earnings calls, they're saying our profits have never been higher. We're killing it. The markups during the pandemic are sometimes they're saying 70% of what they were.
If there was a huge increase in the demand for shrewd television commentary, I imagine the demand for what you do would go way up.
Nice one,
and
bodied.
I imagine
he'll never recover from that one. He'll never recover from that one. Like the millions of Americans who will never recover from the Great Recession because of his austerity politics. Got him. Oh man, I bet that one burns. Does that burn as much as getting evicted from your home because the elected leaders that you put into office that promised to help you literally lied to your face and spat on your grave? Oh man. Oh, does it hurt? Oh, does it hurt? As much as watching your grandma die during COVID as Joe Biden revokes the COVID-19 Emergency Act and also pulls back funding for COVID-19 shots that make them free, so we could make sure that we don't like kill immunocompromised people just for the crime of them wanting to go outside to get more food. Your TV show sucks, Jon Stewart. Oh man, you should see your face. Oh, it reminds me of the faces of all those children who went hungry because we didn't give them because we revoked the child tax credit. I love being a Democrat, bro.
Adding into higher wages and getting more and getting paid better.
You're saying it's the market at work.
I don't think you'd call yourself a gouger when you.
I would absolutely call myself a gouger
when you did that.
And by the way, the effect of the talk show business is very different than the effect of ExxonMobil, right? I mean, let's be fair.
Isn't this show going to be on Apple TV?
Correct.
And I think Apple TV is worth about 5 times as much as Exxon. I think Apple's price since the stimulus began, Apple's value has gone up by about $1.2 trillion dollars.
Right.
That's $4,000 for every American, just in increase in the value of Apple.
You just made my
True. And I think I know a much better way to use that $4,000 per American than to give it to Apple shareholders. It is true. Apple is one of, if not the most valuable companies on planet Earth right now, as far as I remember. And if I have any like finance losers in chat, can you correct me from my like feeble finance losering? Isn't Apple worth more than Amazon, Google, and Samsung combined at this moment? Oh, my bad. Is like, what was it? I know it was Amazon and Google, and was it Facebook as well combined? At this moment in time, they may be near number one or just number one, period. Like, isn't Apple's market cap like $3 trillion right now? Samsung owns South Korea. Yeah, and Apple could buy South Korea. Google or Alphabet? Alphabet. I think Apple's market cap is like 3 trillion last time I checked. It's wildly gross number. I'm losing finance. Yeah, here it is. Apple now valued more than Alphabet, Amazon, and Meta combined. Oh, my bad. It was 2.3 trillion. The iPhone makers' worth now stands at $2.307 trillion, while the tech peers only add up to $3.06 trillion. Oh man, that's insanity. It's genuinely insane how much money Apple is worth. It's genuinely insane how little they pay their workers. Crazy how that works, isn't it?
point for me.
Do you feel that Apple is somehow gouging or doing something wrong?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
And Exxon is, and Mobile is.
So let's talk about Apple. Let's talk about Apple.
Man is flabbergasted that he's getting paid by somebody, but is willing to say something wrong about them once in his life. He has never been in this situation before in his life. He's like, oh, of course they're not doing anything wrong. They're paying me.
Do you think Apple should just sell phones for less and not have enough phones? What would you have Apple do?
You're saying to me, John, market forces are market forces. And if demand goes up, are you
the invisible hand of
John,
God
that Apple should charge less than they could charge?
Capitalism.
Let me flip that on you. When there's a tightness in the labor market, what you're saying is the workers shouldn't do the same. That the workers, just following the same capitalistic principles that allow Apple to charge more for their phones, shouldn't charge more because wage
labor.
Inflation is driving inflation.
That's not at all what I'm saying, John.
That's exactly
It
what
is.
you're
It's
saying.
literally what you said.
Every worker should get as high a wage as they can. It would be a terrible idea.
But the
to try
Fed
to
is going to intervene. The Fed is going to intervene to make that not possible.
No, the Fed is intervening to control the overall level of demand growth.
And what will that do to the labor market?
Much faster.
What will that do to the labor market? What will it do to the labor market? It will loosen
is likely to lead to
looser labor markets.
A somewhat looser labor market.
It's like pulling teeth to get that answer out of him. It maybe could possibly, theoretically, hypothetically, metaphorically, metaphysically, if you sing a song about it and you close your eyes and turn upside down and look through your legs and you squint and then use your hands as like a telescope, you may be able to see the labor market loosening, I guess, possibly. Ew, PU, what's that smell? Oh, neolibs? Oh, they're here. Ugh, yikes. Here we go again. Disgusting. I knew I smelled something in here. I knew it. Listen. Austerity for thee, but not for me. Companies couldn't possibly take a squeeze on them at all. They're only sustaining record profits. How could these companies ever survive while taking in such measly record profits? Your average worker who hasn't seen their wages increase since 1970 are the ones who need to tighten up their belts. We're in this together.
Exactly.
We hope to minimize that consequence.
No, you don't. No, you don't. My shareholders, my shareholders, my shareholders, my shareholders. I say this as a shareholder. I have stocks. I've kept stocks in the stock market, and and bi-monthly, I put money into the stock market. I do this. I do. Actually, I've had a stock portfolio since I think 2018 or 2017. So I'm saying this. So everything you hear me say is like coming from from a shareholder myself. You're a shareholder. It'll hurt when we come for you. That is true. I do own 1% of the Microsoft Corporation. So I'm buying monthly too. I'm a small shareholder. I'm a tiny share. I have literally one stock in Microsoft. My other stocks are in like high cap mutual funds and ETFs and other blue chip ETFs and mutual funds. So you'll get the guillotine suit. No, I like my head and my neck. Did you profit from that juicy COVID bell run? I don't really sell stocks, so no, not really. I put my money into the stock, and then I leave it there, and I collect dividends, and then I reinvest the dividends back into my stock. Yeah, I'm more of a collector. I'm just like Sneeko. I like to watch, basically. I don't think I've ever taken money out of my stock portfolio and then used it for anything ever. Plus I want to wait until I have like an actual business, because then I'll have like a CPA on retainer, because I don't want to have to deal with like writing in the taxes of like capital gains. So if I just never take the money out, then the government can never tax me for the money that I never took. Being a shareholder isn't inherently immoral. Yeah, I'm literally chilling. I've never voted in a shareholder like vote before though. So they've emailed me. They've been like, hey, beloved shareholder, I'll have you know we're going to be having a shareholder meeting. You can hear the board of directors and the CEO talk about the future of your company. You can vote on our initiatives for what to do. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell you all are doing over here. Leave me, never talk to me again. Talk to me when you make me more, when you give me when you increase my dividend or something. I don't know. Yeah, most of my stock money goes into, never speak to me again. Most of my stock money goes into like high cap mutual funds, ETFs that have a good exposure to like many markets. So I don't really like keep up with. Yeah. Hi. Pup. Well, you seeing the neighbors play outside on this warm spring day? You can see the neighbors through the blinds. The neighbors' kids are all like having a blast on their bicycles out on the tarmac. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.